Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. This macro downtrend, a month and a half of weighing down on price, has been broken. And whenever we break a downtrend that's been a month and a half long, we enter a macro uptrend of similar duration. So a month and a half of uptrending price action could be on the horizon. We've seen a fantastic breakout. So we're going to be talking about this price action in a lot more detail. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward. And let's dive right into it. So first of all, how did we get here? Because we were talking about how downside can accelerate us to lower prices, rejection from the downtrend on multiple different occasions, but this was always going to be the downtrend to watch out for. And when we started clustering, or at least curling up in the price action after a capitulation wick, still that downtrend was always going to be an important breakout point going forward, especially when we started clustering right over here. We saw lower lows in the price action, higher lows in the RSI. This is a bullish divergence. This downtrend was always going to be challenged if the bullish divergence played out, and it did play out because we saw price break out right back to this macro downtrend, and finally we broke out into a new uptrend. Now we are in a technical uptrend. Long gone are the days of downtrending, we're now uptrending. That's fantastic. This is the major resistance area that holds us before new all-time highs, but history suggests that it could, at the latest, be a September breakout to new all-time highs. So let's talk about what to be watching out for going forward, because we know that this was the deepest correction in the cycle, 25%, 25.6%. This was the second deepest, 23.8%, right over here in early January 2023. This was 23% almost. So it's interesting because this January deepest retrace in early 2023, well, it took over a year for Bitcoin to break that record with a deep retrace once again. And then in the following month or two, we broke that record again. So that was quite interesting to see. That it took a long time to break the record, and then it didn't take too much time at all to break a record. So that is 25% as a depth record in terms of corrections. But in terms of length, this was one of the longest corrections as well, 42 days versus 49 days and 63 days on two separate occasions over 2023. So this was not only the third longest correction, but it was the deepest correction in the cycle. And notice how this correction lasted 5 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, we have almost entirely cancelled out this 5-week retrace of 25% in just 2 weeks. And that's crypto for you. Fantastic to see what we're actually seeing here on the monthly time frame. Point of rejection in the previous bull market. This was the bull market peak here. We're essentially holding that point of rejection and major resistance zone as a support, holding consistently for 5 months in a row. 5 consecutive months of holding this area as old resistance into new support is really great. Downside wicking, showcasing premium buying behavior, but also a growing aggression in that buy the dip bargain buyer, and also premium buying behavior. Premium buying behavior in graphic form, very clear right over here. This is your new higher low. Of course, we do have a series of lower highs here, multi-month series of lower highs. However, this month, if we close above around maybe 67K or so, then we will get our first higher high. So we've formed a new higher low. So that is premium buyer behavior. Here, it's bargain buying behavior. So if we have the bargain buyer behavior, we have the premium buying behavior. If we break this series of lower highs, then we have strong buy side interest at quite high prices, because only a month, or actually a few weeks ago, we were in 55K territory. So if we form a higher high here, then it looks like long-term investors are actually happy to be buying at prices $10,000, $12,000 higher, which is a total shift towards bullish sentiment. So we do have a higher low. We are looking for that new higher high, and then looking for that new higher high, we're looking for a break in the lower highs. So a new higher high would invalidate this bearish bias that is inherent in lower high diagonal resistances. So this is possibly very positive news, but the most positive news here is that we've been holding this old resistance as a support for 5 consecutive months. So this is definitely a demand area that's going to support price into new all-time highs. It's a matter of when rather than if. So really important to keep this in mind, because there is very different price action compared to what we're seeing here. Notice how we're seeing downside wicks into this demand area and also below it quite considerably, whereas right over here we're seeing the same thing but on the inverse. Price action tapping into a supply zone, trapping in FOMO buyers before rejecting, and the same thing happening essentially right over here and trapping in FOMO buyers at even higher prices. We are seeing something completely different. The market dynamics have shifted quite considerably over the past 3 years. We're seeing sustainable candle-bodied monthly closes above an old resistance turning into support. Prices sustainably consolidating around these levels, which just showcases to us that this clustering in price action can be quite favorable, because if we even look at this sort of clustering of price action after a capitulation wick, you can see that clustering for a period of time can proceed upside, and this is the daily time frame. So just imagine what happens when we have clustering of price action on a higher time frame. This is really positive news for Bitcoin holding this area of demand, and the fact that we've been able to recover from a correction so quickly is also a testament to that emerging strength. Because if we look at the previous corrective period, for example, here, we rejected into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of downside and then came back after 1, 2, 3 weeks. So we have managed to recover in 2 weeks' time, and maybe this is also going to be upside going into 71k, because previously every time we've managed to break to new highs, we've managed to essentially tag those highs here at the range high. So if you think about price action as a range, 60, 600 and 71, 150, for example, every month we've managed to tap into that support, to just retest it as a support quite convincingly, and even dip below there to bargain buy into bargain buying territory for those premium buying buys, essentially to aggressively bargain buy at lower price levels. But on the flip side of that, every month we've also tagged the 71 150 level as well, rejecting from there and also upside wicking sometimes below this level. Beyond this level, apologies. So upside wicking beyond here, ultimately rejecting. So we've been bouncing for 5 months now from 6600 to 71 150, 71 500, and that just showcases to us that the fact that we've bounced from 6600, of course, with downside wicking, we've seen a downside wick from 6600 very consistently over the past few months. The fact that we've bounced from here means that we're probably going to revisit the 71 500 level as well, and there is scope for upside wicking beyond that resistance as well. So don't potentially get FOMO trapped if we get an unconfirmed break. So a weekly close below 71 500, 71 150 would be necessary to break out to new all-time highs. But over the past few months, we've seen upside wicking beyond this range high resistance, downside wicking below the range low resistance, and if we're not able to break out this month, then we're probably going to see the same thing happen over the coming months. Sinusoidal price action moving in between these two key levels. Really important to notice that we're just consolidating here, but we're actually reaccumulating before the next parabolic rise to new all-time highs and beyond. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward. I'm Rekt and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.